Testing, testing, testing. Hello, degenerates. This is Stephen Hesher, and today I am going to talk about the homeless crisis. There is a homeless crisis in the United States of America, which probably means that there's a homeless crisis in a lot of other parts of the world right now. But what I would like to focus on is the homelessness crisis in Kansas City. That's where I live, and that's where I have my encounters with homeless individuals. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. And I should probably disclose that in addition to the usual roasted, I am also quite toasted this evening. And so I might be slurry. We'll see. Slurring my words. There are three main places in Kansas City. There are three main locales that spring to my mind when I think about homelessness in Kansas City, that being a bridge, and I want to say it's like a bridge at 19th and Holmes. Not for sure on that one, but I drive over it whenever my roommate and I go to Grinders, so that kind of is why I see that. And it's a homeless encampment that has been growing quite a bit of late. And then the next big homeless the next big homeless person encampment that I see often is the Triangle Park in Westport. I think it's called Triangle Park. Hopefully I'm not confusing that with the park in Manhattan, Kansas. Anywho. And then the biggest homeless camp in town is the one on the front lawn of City Hall. So that's kind of the most glaring one from just about every angle that you can, think of it. And it's kind of genius, actually. You're almost like forcing the city to have to take action, whether it's violent or otherwise. And there was threat earlier this week, 2 days ago. The city threatened to storm the camp and take everything that the homeless people had. But it would seem that that did not happen. And instead, actually, Mayor Quentin Lucas went and met with someone from the homeless camp on the doorsteps. I don't know if it was a leader or who it was. I should probably do some more research on this, probably when I'm more sober. But here we are, you listening to me on the mic. I am not someone who is trying to be prejudiced towards homeless people. I am aware of the fact that quite often in life, our lot in life is determined more by the nature No, excuse me. Drunk as fuck. We have a lot less control over our lives now, over the trajectory of our lives now than we used to. I think this is because neoliberalism has generally trusted, or neoliberalism, which is the primary political train of thought that has kind of driven our culture for the past 50 years, has generally trusted or tried to privatize government services in such a way that there is no longer a cushion to fall upon, a government cushion to fall upon. And perhaps a libertarian might say that is good. We need that motivation to keep people innovating, to keep people working. But I mean, I used to have that mentality, and it was because I came from a very sheltered childhood. I came from a very privileged childhood. My parents are wealthy. There are no two ways about it. And yeah, it is only really from that seat of privilege, I think, that one could come to the notion that we don't need more government programs. In fact, we need less government programs. Social programs. So, what do I mean by all this? Sorry, tangential as fuck right now. We quite often our lots in life, right now at least, are determined more by things that are outside of our control than things that are within our control. There definitely is still agency right now, but it is not as great as it used to be. Individual agency, it is not as big a factor in your overall success or failure in life as it used to be. So what I'm about to say is not to be interpreted as prejudiced towards homeless people. However, I mean, I can understand being desperate the way that I've never been homeless, but I can understand that there's a desperation that comes with that situation that would make one perhaps be a little less respectful of the rules of society. If a society has done, if a society has failed you the way that a society has failed a homeless person, why would you respect a lot of the rules that society tries to have? So there has been reports of a lot of theft around these communities. I've heard from people who have been involved in outreach into homeless communities where people in those communities have broken into government infrastructure and like a street light, and so they're stealing power from the city. In the situation that I heard about, it was someone who had wired up a refrigerator from a city street light so that they could have a freezer that was freezing ice cream for them. And it is kind of I mean, the engineer in me is like, oh yeah, that's resourceful as hell, man. But I feel like these people have a need, and right now there is we could pacify that need as with government intervention. There are so many abandoned buildings in Kansas City that could be refurbished into shelters. And that's a Band-Aid solution, by the way, shelters. if you want long-term integration, if you're trying to get these people actually back and functioning into society, you are going to have to like find ways of making them live with people in who are already living a normal life. Like the way that you solve homelessness, the way that you solve class disparity is by mixing those classes, the social classes, forcibly. Well, maybe not forcibly, but like you got to figure out a way of destigmatizing public housing the way that they have in Hong Kong and more successfully in Taiwan. And that just being having social groups, having people in your social group that are in a higher social strata than you are or a higher socioeconomic level than you are, will encourage you to climb to a higher socioeconomic level. So I understand why people don't like these homeless camps, because a lot of the people in those camps are stealing because they have needs. And it's we got to help them find homes. We need to help them find jobs. And then Mayor Quentin Lucas, if you help these people with all that, maybe then you can have your green lawn back, at City Hall. But Mayor Quentin Lucas, I don't know that I should be attacking him personally. I don't think that's what I was doing, but I understand that he has the constraints of his office. At the same time, I don't think I want to focus on the limitations of his power when we're talking about how he is responding to individuals who literally have no power at all, literal homeless people. The mayor of a city has a lot of power when compared to homeless people. I don't know. Maybe I need to be more educated on Quentin Lucas's political career before I start commentating on it. I think that's kind of the attitude that I'll take on this. But I do not care for these threats of clearing sweeps that the city puts out against homeless people. All right. Well, this is Stephen Hesher signing off.